This is an introduction to the flow personalities that we're going to work with in the Systems Change Alliance Consulting. They are based on other personality systems that you'll see around the world, including the Jungian personality systems. The Myers-Briggs is very similar. A lot of the ideas that I'm working with has come from wealth dynamics, which works with a very similar system again. Fairly universal, and actually the map of consciousness, the map of the 8 different types that we're going to look at, is found everywhere from ancient Greek medicine to the I Ching in ancient China. So it's not a new thing, but it's a good thing. Now if I share my screen, whiteboard, I'll be able to draw some things here. At the top, I'm going to put some creative, or rather, actually, intuitive. Intuitive is the official psychology term for this kind of personality. Intuitive doesn't mean intuition in a normal sense, but the sense of being able to see the whole big picture. So this is also described as the air element, being up in the air, seeing the whole big picture, like being in a helicopter or being up in the clouds. You can see everything that's going on laid out in a map, but you don't get to enter into the details and experience things step by step. You get only to see the big picture. So this is people who, when I ask them to design a garden and to do some gardening in the backyard, they will draw me a picture of what the garden looks like when it's finished, which might take 50 years. Whereas, down the bottom here, we put sensing. So sensing is more about being in tune with what is going on now and feeling things in your fingers in your body. So that means that the learning style for an intuitive person is visual. You get to see the big picture of exactly everything that's going on. The learning style for a sensing person tends to be more kinesthetic. I want to actually do something and feel it and experience it. We don't want just the theory, I want the practice, the action. And in gardening, as we said, the intuitive is going to draw you the map, the sensing is going to get out a spade and some seeds and put them in the ground. They take action, they get involved directly in things. And they're also very good at timing. So somebody who's good with sensing is very good at knowing the right time to do things. Now is the time when people need help with this particular issue. This can be very important in sales because we're in the sense of what is needed at the moment in this place. Time and place is also very closely connected, so we have the here and the now. Where the intuitive is much more focused on the future. Great plans tend to be either ahead of their time or behind their time. So they kind of need to work together, of course. Do you see where you are? Are you more intuitive or more sensing? That's a question to look at. Now, on the right, we put create, no, I already said creative. Extroverted. And on the left, we put introvert. So an extrovert is somebody who likes variety and uncertainty. So they're somebody who gets up in the morning and says, I have no idea what's going to happen today. Isn't that exciting? Whereas an introvert is somebody who enjoys predictability, and so they like to control the way things are going to go. And they get up in the morning and they say, I have everything planned out for the day, and I know exactly how it's going to work. And therefore, isn't that wonderful? They both have their positive qualities. And in fact, we need all of these qualities, and we have all of these qualities in ourselves. But different people have different ones much stronger than the others. Have a look at yourself. Are you more extroverted or more introverted? Do you want more variety in your life or more predictability? Do you want to spend how much of your time with people, which gives the variety. In talking to people, you never know what's going to happen next, the interest and color. Or do you like to spend more of your life by yourself or with only a few people in a more controlled kind of way, having things more predictable? Each of us has our own balance in that. And you can be fairly extrovert, you can be kind of in the middle, which is actually, has a name, it's called ambivert. I don't know what the name for someone who's in the middle between intuitive and sensing is. I hope there is a name somewhere, but I haven't found it. Now you have to remember that this map, this idea that we have different kinds of people who are focused in different skills, talents. They're more extroverted, more introverted, more intuitive, more sensing. It's not about what you can do. We're all capable of going out there in the world, talking to people, putting on an extroverted face. And we're all capable of going into our rooms and doing some study. That doesn't make us an introvert or an extrovert. In the same way, being intuitive or being sensing, we all have the ability to do these things. We can draw a map. We can plant seeds. Everyone can do all of this stuff. The question is, how much fun do you have when you're doing it? What is different about people is where they find their joy and their flow. And the flow is the point where you feel totally engaged in your work and loving what you're doing, excited, motivated. There is no kind of stresses and anxieties and issues around it. It just goes and it flows and it flows and it flows. Now, there are different areas of life where you might find that flow. And that flow is something that you're going to be able to do every day, day in, day out. It's not something that's going to wear you out. Whereas there's other things we can do, but they do wear us out, and our passion doesn't come through in them. So when we're doing projects and when we were doing organizing businesses, charity, whatever it is that you're wanting to do to make a difference in the world, if you're doing something that's in your flow, then you don't burn out. You just keep going and going and going. That's the advantage, number one. Number two, you're so much more passionate and inspired that people get much more excited working with you, and it's much easier to get success and movement. And number three, you do better work. And when you're in your flow, you do really good work, so you manage to get much better things done. So you want to spend as much time as possible, or at least a large amount of time, in your flow. So let's look at the different kinds of ways that individuals can find their flow. The first one is the eagle. The eagle is the most intuitive, and the eagle sees the big picture and gets inspiring visions and possibilities. They're great inventors, great creative people, artists. They come up with new ideas all the time. I've heard somebody, they were writing a blog about this. They had so many ideas. He said, I wish I had creative block, because it would have been so good to not have so many ideas at some times, so many ideas at the same time, to be able to kind of just focus on one thing at a time. But this is not the nature of the eagle. The eagle is that you get many, many ideas. You don't necessarily have the ability to put all of those ideas into practice, but you can see very clearly possibilities. Second type is the monkey. So the monkey is a performer. They're very good at seeing ideas and very good at communicating them. So they're more intuitive and more extroverted. And these are the ones who become the stars of the show, who speak, who often perform music. They're often movie stars, somebody who takes all the attention onto themselves and uses that to express something. So I'm a monkey, and that's why I like to present through video rather than writing, because it's much easier for me to work with an audience than it is to work with ideas, which is a much more introverted, ideas in the sense of words. It's much typing words, getting everything written down very clearly. This is a much more introverted kind of approach. So the monkey tends to be successful when they put themselves on the stage, and they lead by showing people what's going on here, speaking, performing, making themselves the center of attention. And in making yourself the center of attention, directing that attention onto whatever topic it is that you consider to be important. So it's not really about me, me, me. It's about, now that you're looking at me, let's talk about homelessness, or let's talk about whatever it is that you want to put the energy into. So you're able to gain that energy and put it in the direction where you want it to go. The eagle, by the way, most successful when they are working on creating new projects. They create new projects, they can see exactly what's going to happen and what's needed to create that project, they can get it running. And then when it's kind of running, they don't keep running it because they're keeping on is something difficult for them. But the starting point is very easy. So that's the kind of easiest success for the eagle. Then we have the lion. By the way, when I talk success, I'm not talking success in the sense of I'm going to make lots of money, I'm going to be a successful person. I'm saying you've got a project you want to do, you've got impact you want to make, there's a difference you want to make in the world. Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, can you do it? Can you make it happen? If you're going to make it happen in a really big way, this is success, no? So although the word success is used in a way that is not necessarily always the kind of feeling that you're wanting to talk about in impact, it is still very, very, very relevant. So the most impact, the most success comes when you follow a particular pathway that really suits your personality. So the lion, think of the Lion King. The lion is the great ruler who is very wise and kind and gentle, symbolically. Of course, lions can be quite different to that in real life, but they have a certain personality that has that aspect in it as well, and we'll use them symbolically to mean this kind of figure. Aslan from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and such Narnia stories, is also a very similar character, a lion who is the wise coach, counselor. So lion personality is somebody who really loves to talk and counsel and help other people to achieve whatever they want to achieve, to be what they want to be, to create what they want to create. And so they love these conversations, but they don't necessarily have the clear direction themselves, and here where we need to go. What they have more is the ability to help others to go where they need to go. So their success, their greatest impact, is when they tie themselves to other people's success. They go, here is a project that I really love. Let me come in there and lead that and bring everybody together into unity and achieve something great together. And then I'm able to have my greatest impact by supporting that movement. And they can also become coaches where they're supporting other people with their individual businesses or projects, like a coach who has many, many clients. Or they can choose one particular group or project and just really get stuck into that one and make that one really, really successful. So then we have the honeybee. The honeybee is the one who meets all of the beautiful flowers and makes connections between them. They're the connector. They network, they meet lots of people, they know everything about what's going on between this person and that person and the other person. They will go out and meet these new people and listen to what they have to say. And so get to know what the talents of all of these different people are. And then they're able to put them together. So you should meet this person, and you should meet this person, and create projects together. So their success and their ability to really get somewhere is by using this process of networking and building connections. They might work as agents or other kind of networkers who kind of work for somebody else, like a musician's agent making you connect with the right ones that you need, the right people that you need to connect with. For example, the musician needs to find the venues, and the venues need to find the people who want to come, and all of this kind of thing. So they can do that, but where they make the most impact is in setting up collaborations. So finding people who are already doing great things in the area that you want to, and bring those together to do even greater things together. This can actually be a really exciting direction because it allows you to leap out into the field in a great way from the beginning. You don't have to start small and build up so much, because you're not starting with your own abilities, you're starting with other people's abilities. So when other people, if you work with other people who are already very good at what they do, then you can create something really, really effective and successful right from the beginning. Okay, so then we have the dolphin. Not the dolphin, the dolphin. The dolphin is the most sensing, so they're the most practical in many ways. And they're the ones who say, how can I help you? I had a friend who was a dolphin, and she was really good at waiting, and she would work in the restaurant and say, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Take your order and go and bring you the food. But she said if she had to have a conversation, she wouldn't know what to say beyond that. The conversation, it was kind of interesting to meet people and say, how can I help you? But to kind of continue on the conversation was difficult. So the how can I help you was very, very strong. And it is in dolphins. It's always very strong. It can be, how can I help you as a waitress or a waiter? It can be, how can I help you as a shopkeeper? What can I sell to you? It can be, how can I help you as a nurse or a doctor? What do you need? What's the problem? And dolphins are similar. They're very helpful animals, and they'll run in and kind of be helpful and friendly and playful, and then they'll go off and do something else, or come back with something for you, or whatever it is. So if you are a very helpful dolphin, then you're going to be very good in service, customer service, and therefore sales, in developing shops, and in doing impact and making a difference. You're going to want to work in a way that is something along those lines. Now, sometimes people think that shops and selling things doesn't fit with the idea of service. But actually, they're very, very closely linked. When you sell something, what you're doing is you're creating the possibility for people to get the thing that they want. You're not, it's not focused so much, or it shouldn't be focused so much on making money as on providing a service. What is it that people need, and how can you make sure that that's available to them? And you don't make that available by making it free, because that means that it's actually not sustainable and won't continue to be available. You make that available by making sure that it's at a price that they can afford, and that price is also able to pay for the resources that are needed to provide it. So, for example, there was a place in Perth which has trampolines, a huge big gymnasium full of trampolines, and the kids and adults can come and jump on these trampolines and do all of these amazing adventurous stuff with soft cushioning and everywhere, so it's really safe and it's really fun. And this is an amazing place that somebody in their home is not going to be able to have. They might be able to have one trampoline, but they're not going to have this whole ocean of trampolines. But it costs money to provide a place like that, and so they have to charge you to enter so that they can provide that service. So this is a service, and this is kind of the way that the dolphin works. It can work in a shop, or it can work in something else, but you have to kind of consider how are things going to be provided, and making sure that you're making it sustainable to provide and to give. the service is worthwhile. So this kind of thinking is this kind of thing that is going to make you successful if you have that dolphin mentality. If you have a little bit more introverted than the dolphin, you become a bear. A bear hibernates in the winter, and so they need to store their fat and their resources to be safe for that whole winter time. And so the bear is the most interested in keeping things safe and secure in the long term. They don't want things to be dangerous, they don't want risks, and they do want things to be building and sustainable. So you imagine somebody who's trying to grow a garden of trees that are going to take 100 years to grow. And there's some possibility that one day there'll be a fire and the trees will get burnt. Now, this is a very, very important issue because it's kind of like, you know, it's not very likely that a fire will happen this year, but in 100 years, is it likely that a fire will happen at some point? Yes, it's very likely. And if that fire is going to destroy your whole work that you've been building up for the whole, how many years it's been, 70 years or something, how disastrous is that? And so it's actually really important to deal with risk, to make sure that things are really safe if you're going to do a slow, steady growth. So you're building trees, houses, things that are going to last a long time, putting a lot of investment in things. It's also good for financial management in terms of managing the monies that are in the bank account and making sure that things are safe and secure and are going to grow steadily, slowly, and invest in that money, etc. So where the monkey is the opposite of this, the monkey likes to perform and likes to take risks, likes to try things out. This works on stage, you know. When you're performing, you do something risky and it's kind of exciting and cool and people love it, even if it kind of doesn't work perfectly, it still works. Whereas the bear, which is working in the field of investment and slow growth, it's disastrous to do the same kind of dangerous behavior. So you can see that in different fields, it's important to behave in different ways. And so that's why people with different personalities are able to work best in their particular kind of field. So then we have the gazelle. One day I hope somebody will do up some graphics of this and we can have beautiful pictures of all of these animals. This will be so much better than what I've got here, but this is what I have at the moment. So please forgive me. The gazelle is the most introverted and refined and beautiful and elegant. They try to do things very, very well. When they do come out of their shell, when they come out and join a party and do something that might seem extroverted, that's to do with people and presentations, they do it really well because they do everything really well. They like to do things in a very, very high quality. And so sometimes they're mistaken for extroverts because they're so confident in social situations. But if you ask them about it, they'll tell you they do that for an hour and then they go home and they're exhausted. Whereas the extroverts do it just for fun, they do it all day. I have a gazelle as a sister, and she puts on parties sometimes. And my mother is also possibly. So they put on parties, and they put so much effort into making sure that the party is really right, and all the seating's right, the decorations are right, and it's exhausting for them. Yeah, I and my family put on parties every week. We find it very easy. It takes us about an hour to organize a party. We don't make it as perfect. We have a lot of fun doing it, and we just kind of let it flow. Because this is the kind of extroverted thing. You don't really know what's going to happen, and that's good. Whereas the introverts like to know exactly what's going to happen. So they can seem extroverted, but that doesn't mean that they are actually extroverted because they're still trying to do things in a controlled, precise, refined way and it's kind of exhausting to do a lot of work with lots of people. However, you do get a lot of gazelles in event management, wedding organizing, for example. Wedding organizers, gazelles are fantastic at it. And production, producing things in a really good, high quality way so that we have high quality stuff that we can give out there. Craftsmen are often gazelles, but they bring that high quality to whatever they do. In business, they tend to organize the business very, very detailed and precisely, and put in all of the foundational steps before taking the next step. And so they don't jump out there and just do something. They design and design and design. But then when they do come out, they come out in a very, very high quality. So for a gazelle, you want to plan, you want to produce something that's a really, really good event, really, really good system, really good produce production, whatever you want to do it to the highest quality, because this is what you're good at. And then you will be successful. A lot of gazelles also quite good at managing things like real estate, where you can keep things nice, you keep the house functioning well and maintain it, keep everything operating well, and then it kind of functions by itself to some level, so that you've got this cash flow that you're getting from something that you built and created or are maintaining. And this is actually similar to the business model. So like if you're running a business that you have set up all the details very, very clearly, then you're actually creating something that is going to keep running in a very, very good way and is going to keep having that cash flow coming in. So that's, and when I'm talking about business, I always come back to this, that business is part of impact. If you want to make a difference, you have to be able to build things that work and then things that are successful. And organizations run on money and depend on business. Excuse me, I have a dog here that's been incredibly kind. Shoko, can you sit on your bed, please? On your bed. Shoko, on your bed. On your bed. On your bed. On your bed. Come on. On your bed. Okay. I will have to go and take him for a walk soon. But the next step is the beaver. The beaver is the one who likes to fix things and build things, and they're like the engineers, the mechanics, problem solvers. So they see a problem and they go, let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, a lot of them will be working in actual mechanics, as in fixing cars, fixing bicycles, doing jigsaw puzzles. And computer programming is also very popular among beavers because it has the same kind of sense. And then we have this kind of whole map of all of the different personalities. I haven't said that the beavers, what makes them really successful in projects is to work on systems. And systems often means copying the way other people do things. You've seen the systems out there and you put those systems together into something that works as a bigger system to create the kind of project that you're wanting to create. So rather than inventing something completely new, you put together the different building blocks that you've already seen in operation, creating a system that works. So each one of these is a personality pathway. So if you have that kind of personality, then this pathway is the one that's going to lead you to the most impact. It's not that, as I said before, it's not that you can't do all of the other things. You can do all of this stuff. But if you focus on the one that you are the absolutely best at and that you do so much easier and more flow, then this is where you're going to move much more quickly towards wherever it is that you're wanting to get to, and whatever impact or difference you want to make in the world, or whatever success that you're trying to create. So try and find where your flow is. Think of the points in your life where you felt really, really in flow, and what it is that you've been doing, and see if you can see how you find that flow in your life and your projects and your work. Now I'm going to leave it at that and go and deal with the dog who really needs me at the moment. And then we'll see you soon for the next installment, where we'll talk about probably the impact spectrum, which will give us a sense of where you are in your projects and where you would like to be. Bye for now.